All right. Let's do this again, ladies and gentlemen. Round 1B. This is the HGL playoffs between Amazon and Adobe. We're going to be able to run it back here. Same lineup, same summoner spells coming in here. If I was allowed to change some things, at least me personally, I would probably get Cleanse on to Colon Puncher. So for the future for Colon Puncher, if he's playing and listening, or I don't know what's going on with him, but if he does go back and watch this, I think instead of having Ignite onto this comp right here, that he should be running Cleanse, because, well, I don't know. It depends. If I look at the enemy team, I guess really, to be honest, you're mainly only cleansing Leona's stuff, but in the laning phase, I think it's a far stronger ability than that Ignite, although the Ignite did help him pick up the kill on the first blood last time, so I guess potato. I don't know. He can go with what he feels most comfortable with, and a lot of times it is a comfort pick. But the thing is that if you take Ghost, it is such a strong ability combined with Cleanse, because the problem with Ghost is the reason everybody doesn't take Ghost instead of Flash. Flash can get you over walls. That's the advantage of Flash. Ghost is an extended movement speed buff, which can help you chase. It can help you get away. Lasts a lot longer. It also ignores unit collision. And I like this. I like this so much, because both teams started out and they were very, very cautious, but they know that Amazon knows that last time what happened is they just took their blue and just went about their business, and now they've decided, hey, you know what? Instead of doing the same thing, we can get bang for a buck off of this. Oh my God, they're gonna get Yorick. They're gonna get Yorick. Yorick coming in here, gets stunned right off the bat, gets ignited. There's first blood, and that is what you do if you get to run it back. And now actually we'll remove chat. But yeah, so that is the smart thing to do. If you have to run it back, you can. I mean, you don't have to start out the game the same way as you decided to last time. You actually do have wards covering red and covering their own river again, so they're going to be protected against the early J4 gank yet again, as we talked about earlier. But J4's still going to get a good start off, and Yorick dying early, not the worst thing in the world. The first blood actually I still have this up, sorry, but not the worst thing in the world. If we look in here, pretty much same item starts for everybody. No one really starting that much different. Doran's Blade not going to have. We'll see how the lane dynamic changes without that first blood gold coming this time. We'll see if the staying gank comes in. If so, things that I would change. So if I'm bottom lane, knowing how hard we got pushed and the early gank coming in, I would run down right after this blue. I would put a ward in river if I could. Or I would have tried to maybe pop one down there before blue started. And they're going to give him a hard leash, and both are going to see the smiteless leash again. But I probably would have got down there just so you can see the Cho'Gath come in again. Because the same thing happens now and you trade. It's actually bad. It's even worse for you because you wouldn't be getting the first blood. So I'm sure they'll be a little bit more cautious, too, about this gank path. I imagine. But we're going to get back to it, but with some extra gold starting up here for both teams, and first blood did go to Cho'Gath. Did go to Cho'Gath, so he had that first kill, that early start. Didn't go back and get any items off of it. He's just doing his normal jungle path, but that will get him to his early jungle items quicker, so he'll actually have a decent lead on J4, which is nice for him. And yeah, we're back at it too. Back at it. And, we know what happened last time, and here's the push up again. They're gonna back off us. They don't even have a ward, but they're gonna wanna have this one backed off, and they're gonna eat a cupcake trap right there. I almost think that always giving off this time should have came up through lane as opposed to over across river, because I would have expected them to maybe try to get a ward over there. Thinking about it, they can still get a ward in that brush from where they are. Looks like the internal clock is ticked, and he's gonna back off out of this one, but. I would have thought they would have came that way, so I might have come up through lane, although that would waste more time, but it makes it more possible for you to get in and possibly get something off of the gank. Gets you closer to the enemy team, as opposed to last time. We see J4 coming bottom. They do not. They did actually just placed a ward for this, so pretty clutch timing on their part to get the ward off. They're going to back off, and now it looks like always giving off coming over here. Might be set up for counter ganking territories. They do not actually have a ward over here. He's actually just hanging up over the wall, cupcake trap in the bush. They actually still have the standard there as well, so that is granting vision. And if he comes up and around, he still should be able to get into position. Yeah, they won't see him get over here. So if they can get it pushed back out, there's the engagement. Rupture gonna be able to possibly land here. Just misses yet again after that flash, and the silence comes in. Last shot by Pelennor. They're gonna be able to pick up a kill. Nicely executed right there. The Ruptures, only if they land. So a rerun. Valsa actually lives this time. Not getting that ignite on him or her. But yeah, so 2-0. So actually a better start in all intents and purposes for Amazon. So learning a little bit, and I think they adapted a little bit to the early start a little bit better. Yorick just being a little bit, he went up to the tri-brush, but if you run up to the tri-brush, unless you ward on your way through at at your race to cover your red, you pretty much should never go back down there, because once you're in that spot, you just have to assume that they could be anywhere. They could be in your jungle, and it's dangerous to go for it. But I mean, worked out for Amazon, and now they kind of have already gained that lead that they had worked up to about 15, 17 minutes into the game, but they've done it now at the 5-minute mark. And we'll see how they try to snowball off of that. We still see that Pellinor still does have his red pot in hand. The CS lead is not quite the same as last time, though. It is the same up top. It looks like it's starting to build up. But mid's a little bit even for now. That'll stay the same until Orianna comes into her own, picks up the Chalice again. And really, Chalice for Orianna is pretty necessary. You're pretty mana intensive, but once you get that and you have an unlimited supply of mana, you can push, you can clear waves very, very easily. She has great auto attack animations. Her passive lets her do bonus magic damage to minions, so she's, it's really easy for her to last hit. Where Rumble, it's actually a lot harder for him to last hit. Zen's Blade just misses there onto Lulu, and I mean, that's just kind of one of those things that Rumble's going to be a little bit behind, but it's not too bad for Rumble because he's going to have a great lane presence. So that's kind of how that dynamic at least works out here. But in the bot lane, we'll see. Whoa, Glitterlance is being crazy, crossing over there, trying to land double cupcake trap, and there's actually a rupture that lands, but eats a lot of turret shots to get a little bit of harass in there. Ignite coming down. Now they're going to turn onto this one yet again, but if they maybe had a rupture, might be able to do something, but now they're in trouble. That lands behind. This is bad news. Gerg might be able to die here. Flash after. Needs to throw down some sort of slow or anything to protect his teammates. Looks like that ghoul slow might be enough. Oh my gosh. I can't believe he got away. They turned a little bit, and I thought they had a kill there after that ghoul came down with the slow if J4 kept it up, but wow. Luckily, that's one of those mistakes where it depends on the level of people you're playing with, just kind of what happens in a given situation. At the highest level, you're going to get punished for those misses of, ruptures and stuff like that 95% of the time. I'm just pulling out a random statistic, but you're going to get punished higher percent of the time the tougher players you're playing against there. I think they got away with one pretty luckily there. Just out of lucky circumstances. I think Amazon could have been really, really punished there. So yeah, Amazon with the early lead, sitting in here, and we're seeing the poke battle. The bot lane not quite as active as it was last time, but with that early advantage, should see Pellinor coming in here doing some work. Another quick lead up by Volsei, getting a little bit of a pill steal for Peacemaker, but still does have the MR armor buff up for Leona, so Leona can actually tank that pretty well. If you're ever doing damage to her based off of that, I mean, she's pretty much fine. See, Orin actually going to be able to come back to lane with blue buff, something that Rumble doesn't even care about because he doesn't have to worry about mana. He just tries to farm with his flame splitter as best as he can. He's actually creeping a little bit ahead, so good on Tai Fang this game, farming up a little bit better against this. But again, I expect Orianna to start to creep ahead once she, now that she has this blue buff. Once she goes back and does her first buy, should be sitting pretty well for it. And this bot lane, Column Puncher and crew have actually been able to whittle down Pellinor quite a bit, and you can see that harass right in there, throwing picks onto there, and wow, a gank middle, jumps past the equalizer, takes a lot of turret shots though, gets some help though from Patton D's, thrown over that command protect, very nicely done. And there we see a rupture to help out clear the wave, it looks like, from always goofing off. Just going to play defense here for his team, as they're pretty low. And they're going to go back and buy again, and Colin Puncher, I expect him to back off pretty soon because the arms race won't go in his favor unless he starts to back off. Looks like he's thinking about it and should be going soon, because the problem is like you're still sitting with a Doran's Blade against someone who now has a Vamp Scepter and Berserker Greaves. So if he's going to push up the wave, it looks like, to deny possibly a little bit CS, but that wave, it's going to equalize before it can do much there. We see actually the Ghost of Yorick, so he's using his Ghost right there, which is a good defensive ability to actually deal extra damage to the turret and try to take it down quicker, punish harder, and it's something he needs to do so he can get some advantage for his team, because like we talked about a little bit earlier, you know, Yorick's advantage of playing a Yorick is all early game. It's not really running anything else. So we're going to see possibly a counter geek here. They did show themselves in mid, so I don't expect them to fully go in on this. Equalizer not up yet, though, so we'll see how this does get executed. It looks like they're just going to back off out of this one. No really big CC coming out from either player. Command Shockwave still on cooldown as well, so really that's one of those scenarios where if you're coming in as a jungler, you need to have really top communication with your mid, or whatever lane you are ganking for. You know, be like, you know, what's your mana status, what's his status, what's your ult status. You can look up in the top left, see that green dot that actually corresponds to your teammate's ult being up. So without asking, you can actually get that information yourself. But you kind of need to just do some calculation. And we see Equalizer actually being used there to just put some harass down. Rumble pretty safe. He's probably going to back off if that's the case. But he could get pushed in really quickly if Always Giving Off combines with Orianna here to push us really, really hard. They could put a lot of damage on the turret, knowing that he's probably backing off. You know, I would read that as a Rumble player, that he is backing off, and then I would punish him by pushing up the wave very, very hard. And Leona actually going to run around here, actually going to run into Jarvan, but this actually might be good for him. Get the Zenith Blade off as well, and we see the Wild Growth come in, and oh wow, Pelennor getting too deep in there right off the bat, and Orianna coming down as well. Command Protect, they need that dissonance. The dissonance comes in, but we do see the block going to come in for Leona, just barely going to survive. The Feast coming in onto Volgus, but needs to get this kill, otherwise might be left out, hanging out to dry. We see the Command Protect come in, and Colon Puncher just doing what ADs do best and just getting out maximum damage there. Just over time, just keeps putting out damage. We see Rumble coming down as well. He doesn't have his Equalizer, so that threat is not there. But Yorick looks like he should be able to pick up a kill onto Gurg. Will he be able to do it? It looks like it's going to be close and doesn't get the Shroud down in time. Definitely coming back here, and we're going to see the big push in here onto this bot turret. And nice response from Adobe. Kind of put on the back foot early, but get themselves in a good position thanks to that Lulu ult. Be able to keep Jarvan alive for a little bit extra longer. They really need to go in and execute, and the problem there too is that Pelennor, when he comes in, he was a little bit low, but if he comes in like that, you don't want to jump into the Coliseum. You don't want to trap yourself. It's a common trap for a lot of Tristana players. Rocket Jump is your best friend, and it's your worst enemy. It's a reset damage ability, but the other problem is that it's also ability that gets you into trouble when you decide to go in. So off of that kill, we're going to see the Aurelie factor actually kill top turret, and CS-wise, he's not as far as behind as before. He has a kill up there in that top lane, and that's something really to be, you know, proud of versus last game where he was definitely on the back foot. So they've taken down 2 turrets. That actually gives Adobe the gold lead so far and gives them a lot more map control, opens up dragon possibilities as well. There's still great warding down around dragons, so dragon by any means not actually free for anybody to take at this point. It still can be contested over very, very highly, but you know, at the same time, the gank paths now to bot lane are going to be that much stronger, and to top. We're probably going to see a lot more focus on this mid lane, taking down this mid lane now. Although Orianna has a pretty good wave clear, like I talked about earlier, now that she also has her Chalice. Gonna probably need some help as you know, we see Colon Puncher coming here as well, just putting a lot of pressure on that mid lane. The thing to think about though is they've actually left Lulu by herself bot while they're trying to pull this off. And the problem with that is that they can actually go all in on her. They can probably pick her up, and it's letting, it's just leaving the bot lane to free farm. I mean, Rumble's not getting maximum farm out of that push that Colon Puncher just helped out there, and Pellennor's actually just going to put a lot of damage on this turret and get to free farm up, while you know Caitlyn was kind of sharing farm with a Rumble mid as she tried to push it. She's going to come around the backside, but this isn't going to be a good thing for her. Like, you know, coming around this backside is not actually helpful unless she's backed up by that J4 who just got his blue buff. There's that debuff right there. Explosive shot coming in. And she's chasing this, but I don't know if that's really the best move. As we actually see Volse start to try to zone out there. Kind of interested that they're just now backing off and running for their lives now. Ace in the hole going to come in after. Oh, wow. There's the J4 sucking it in, and the Rupture is going to land, going to be able to pop him up. But I don't know if Always Giving Off yet. There's that flash, going to be able to get him out of dodge. Interesting that, just kind of interested that the whole turn events there. Just really just completely, absolutely backing off. Knew that J4 was coming in, so didn't want to engage. But at that point, might have been a good idea to just, you know, go ham and go for it, because I think they have a decent amount of damage, especially with that red pot too, which we still haven't seen Tristana pop, which she could have popped as well. Pelennor could have popped that in the last fight before he died. Might have kept him alive longer, might have gotten a kill. Still should have jumped in. But we see the Gurg start to fight back on this top lane against the Yorick, which this is kind of the stage before, unfortunately died, but, this is kind of the stage that we kind of expected previously the Gurg to get to, so now he's finally gotten to that. We see him actually rotating down mid. Not really going to be able to pick up a big kill there unless we saw them still open, and we see the Gurg actually going to get spot out here with the ward. J4 seeing him being a commando up there, just zone out for his team. A lot of members teaming up around this mid lane. There's actually 4 members for Amazon now teaming up, and Trishan's going to go back free farm the bottom lane, still keeping a good, healthy lead as far as farm goes. Not kill lead because obviously died twice. Caitlyn's picked up 2 kills, so Caitlyn a little ahead in that respect, but for the most part keeping even. Again, Tristana that's even is actually ahead as far as I'm concerned, at least in this game. A lot more scary as you get later on into a game. So we'll see how that goes. And the Gurg coming down here yet again. You see the jump in. So that combo's used. Slow's going down with the polymorph. So we'll see how this gets executed right now. It could be really scary as far as the team fight goes because I don't think they have command shockwave. No, it's about half cooldown. So their chances to really engage on this with Equalize. Oh, Equalize's not up either. So they could engage on this one. It would be really, really tricky. I think the advantage is still in Adobe for a team fight at this stage in this mid lane push. Unless they get really aggressive underneath turret or something like that. But I don't expect them to actually pull that off. Actually, whittling down always goofing off quite a bit. Good poke. I mean, Colin Puncher, obviously, very strong player as we talked about, but really kind of showing it there as we see the entire team start to team up here. The poke is just very, very strong. And I think once they have Equalizer up, which it is now, they could have a moment here where they could go time. They have a ghoul, a ghost they can play off of. They'll be pretty strong to dive this if they really want to. And you see the poke come in, there's big waves. The ghoul's actually showing out here. There's the zoning from the Equalizer coming in. Now pressing onto this turret, and they should be able to take it off the back of that. But now it's going to be engagement. There's a great ult by Leona in the backlines. They're able to tear down J4 right off the bat. Followed up, beautifully done by Leona, getting in there. Taking a bit of damage, should die to that Ignite. Nice command shockwave. Coming in there, picking up a lot of members. Rupture going to land on 3 members, including the Ghost. Pelennor trying to run out of this one, and now they're going to have to back off. Colin Puncher starts to turn around. Gurg running up there to pick up that kill. Pelennor barely living it. Look at that turret. Has negative... Sorry, I had coughing in the middle of that play-by-play, by the way, which is why that sounded weird, I'm sure. But I was trying to hold it together while coughing, which is a hard thing to do. Luckily, I have water. So poke coming in on the Gurg. Needs to be careful with his movement there, but you saw the nice zone out, but a great counter initiate. They still didn't lose their turret, although it should go away as soon as a butterfly lands on it. The thing will crumble at this point as they're trying to push it in. And we see Pat and D is actually very vigorously trying to defend this, but had a great command shockwave. The Rupture by always giving off that time landed on a lot of members. One of them was a Ghost, but still landed pretty well. Colin Puncher keeping really good distance though in that team fight. And that's something that we see the red pop for Pat and D, Pelennor. So that probably saved Pelennor. And now we actually see heavy aggression here. They have a lot of slows. Pop-ups coming down. Volse can actually ward this off as well. No dragon play yet. Pink ward coming in here. Probably, and an early oracles. Wow. That is early, and I actually really like to see that. Something I preach a lot is map control and just vision control through map control. Setting up fights that way. As we can see, Equalizer already back up while Command Shockwave has a ways to go. So that's an advantage. If you ever get in a fight like that, you know that even though Command Shockwave took a while to get back and was used a little bit later, your cooldown on Equalizer is always going to be up for the team fight. You're going to have an advantage there if you trade ults from mid. And those are big, huge team fight ults. And if you do it correctly, I mean, you know you're pretty good. And actually doing Dragon here, zoning out with the ball. They're going to have to use their Feast Smite right now. I would use it right now. They're going to use it, but they need to get out of dodge. That's the thing right now. Just Amazon needs to just back off, and they make the correct decision. They don't fight off out of this. They take their golden run. And, there is, there's some... They're going to lose mid-turret for this. They should. I would just run in there right now. Oh, wow. Okay, so... I don't want to harp on people, but you didn't have to use that to clear the wave, and Equalizer is such a huge team fight thing that that's just like a cardinal sin to me as a Rumble player. I'm sorry, but that's like you've offended my religion of Rumble by doing that right there with the turret solo. And things happen. It's gonna be I just talked about how low the cooldown is. You can already see it's a third down, but. If I saw that happen and I was Amazon, I'd be like, this guy, we have Shockwave up. Like, I want to go ham at this team. I want to go hard at this team now and try to punish them for it and make them learn. But, that's a way to bait me out, anybody looking in the future. But this early Oracle's doing work for Hingeman. The problem with it is, though, is that they lost Dragon even though they had vision control. Amazon just kind of went in there, put down a pink ward, just took Dragon. They never really engaged on it. They were just kind of waiting to mount up. We're a little indecisive with that, and that's, if you're going to take an Oracle, if you're going to use pink wards, I mean, it's a gold investment, right? You're investing in the vision advantage on the map, and if you invest in that, you want to get some sort of return. They didn't get the dragon, so they didn't get a return on that. They've cleared a lot of wards, but they haven't done anything with the missing vision yet. So we'll look for them to try to do something like that. If they don't, then I feel that's a kind of bad thing. Always Gift Graph should have took that red. I would have definitely gave it to Pelennor. I think having a really long range red buff on your AD carry that started to mount up here is definitely the way to go. I can't believe Always Gift Graph actually got away with getting that large wraith. That large wraith was very, very low and had 5 members looking to get over and take it from him. So lucky him. But now they're coming down through the enemy jungle, so they need to be very careful here because this is bait going on to Colon Puncher. And there's that ghost, and his team should be collapsing very, very hard for him. And you see them come down, and Amazon should be coming down to try to help this, but they're not going to be in time. They're not going to be able to catch us down at bottom as I'm watching it on the minimap. And cue the Benny Hill music, although it might be able to get the Cataclysm off to seal a kill onto Voltae potentially. They held on to Zenith Blade, so generally, and Ghost used as well, so Ghost down actually onto a J4 that's not doing anything now, just taking turrets and baiting Pelennor into some Piltover Peacemaker damage. Nice little Rupture lands on there, gets a slow off. Need to have the team mounted up. But ult from Leona, so what happened there is ult from Leona was blown. Ult from J4 was blown, so was the ult from York. Now, one thing I would have looked for there, instead of burning Flash, falsely burning his Flash, it was the safer pick. But you can actually use Zenith Blade to get out of the Coliseum as well, which I think he could have done and still been pretty safe. But it's a less sure thing. We see the standard coming down now, still buffing them in as they push in here, and they've gotten them sufficiently low. Like their poke has been actually pretty impressive. Coming in here from Adobe, they've been doing pretty well with it. Leona just waiting for that ult to come up, and I think once that ult comes up, they might re-engage. What I'm looking for too from Amazon is, at least for Pelennor, to be a little bit more cautious as he comes in. You can see Colon Puncher always keeps a really good distance as an AD carry, and that's definitely a skill that you need when you're trying to carry late game. You can see he always has good position. He's pretty much always safe with his team positioning correctly, so they can just deal out efficient damage constantly, but not actually get caught or die in a lot of fights. He's been very, very elusive, hasn't died yet, and really honestly, probably the coming to this game is the talk was he's the best player on the team. It's definitely prevalent, and I think that if Amazon can catch him, then the team fights are going to go very, very well. That's a typical thing. Catch the AD carry, obviously things are going to go well, but in this case, definitely the case. Although interesting enough, so Pelennor looks like his build wise he's going for Infinity Edge, which I don't mind because it's a lot of big damage that will come in for you. However, I also feel that just having a Vamp Scepter is it's pretty good lifesteal. I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of a fan of the blade that Rune King still played onto Tristana, just because the burst potential it still gives you and the early game advantage. And especially for someone that wanted to kind of play Red Pot all in with the Leona. Kind of expected that to get that card to get played, but it didn't. Still has a lot of damage potential though. Is once he gets his IE, he'll be way more effective than Caitlyn is, and I believe his auto attack range should be higher than Caitlyn's at this point. So definitely gonna look to see that in team fights. Lulu actually. So the thing about Lulu is you see her actually split pushing a lot of lanes. Lulu, kind of like Janna. Janna's kind of the next one, and there's a Shockwave followed up by a nice stun. Oh, this is great landing. Rupture going to follow this one up as well, and there's the catch I was talking about possibly doing. Gur going to eat a turret shot. That's going to be able to kill him, although damage coming off the back end on to J4 there, but with no Lulu ult there, as we saw her back off after pushing that lane. Really great execution and layering of ults. Unfortunately, Gur got a little bit too deep there, and which is kind of the case for him sometimes. But good little pickups there. They weren't. The problem is though that I feel as well is that when you get pickoffs like that, you need to be able to punish. And as we look across here, the thing that's really standing out to me for Amazon that's becoming a problem is that the thing that Adobe's doing very well is they're pushing out, they're keeping all their lanes pushed, and they're keeping map control, vision control. See here, this is all the vision that Amazon has. Adobe's vision pretty good as pink wards around the major buffs, Dragon, Baron, and they're keeping all their lanes pushed. Help, especially since this Lulu, which as I was talking a little bit earlier, supports that can push. Lulu is one of the best up there with Janet as well, which we're seeing Janet come back into the fold. But the fact they're keeping all these lanes pushed is, you know, Amazon's not been able to get that global gold. You know, if the turrets were even, Amazon would be ahead right now. But since Adobe has been doing such a good job of sieging and taking turrets, they took those 2 early, top and bottom. They've been taking a second one down low, and then they took another one. So, this could be trouble. Alts known are down. Equalizer up shortly. There it is. Tick, tick, tick. Should see it come in to follow this up. There's the tick. Should have the dragon. It looks like they're going to be able to take a bit of damage on this way out. They've zoned out Orianna, but they don't capitalize on it. They don't move in. Leona ult coming out right off the bat. Orianna should probably beat feet here. But Amazon, just like that, like I say, you know, the dragon advantage has basically been Amazon this entire time. They've just been able to go in there, and Adobe's not been very decisive about going in and trying to fight them. Whereas, you know, I think on the other end, you know, Adobe's been really good about sieging and taking those turrets. So objective battle's been going on, and now we actually have a dead even game. I mean, these teams are dead even, although as far as team fight presence for a lot of the AoE ults, you know, it could go both ways. We've seen how strong it can be if they get the right catch that they want. If they, you know, they catch them sleeping, we'll see how it works out. But I do like you know, the presence of Equalizer and Cataclysm. But on the other hand, obviously, you know, having the Leona ult followed by an Orianna Shockwave and, you know, Rupture AoE silence, like, you could really tear apart a team with that as well. We'll see how it shakes out. But I do like the fact that they have Tristana. Tristana's Fisher Infinity Edge. She essentially does more damage than Colon Puncher does at this point. Has better range than Colon Puncher at this point, and should, you know, as we move along with this one, start to be a huge factor. As long as Pelennor can keep his you know, correct spacing distance, and that'll be kind of the test. That'll be the test that we'll see as we go forward to see how that works out for them. And now we see the engagement coming on here. There's going to possibly be a speed up. There's the distance. Zenith Blade lands in the middle of the enemy team. Go down this one. Equalizer's going to try to slow him down and keep him out. Gurg still running this one down. Hasn't been able to dash in yet. Trying to go invisible and stay out of this. They've been able to deal a lot of damage on the Amazon front line to try to back him off out of this, and Amazon might want to disengage a little bit, but no, they're able to pick up Colon Puncher and always giving off, eating a lot of focus actually. And now we see Pelennor start to finally come in, and there is a pickoff right there. And now the Zenith Blade over onto Taifeng. Will he be able to turn this around? But double kill for Taifeng. Rumble, a beast, and gonna be able to pick up that kill. Orianna running for her life right now. Patton needs these farm, but needs to keep running. Oh wow, I think that farm might have killed him. That farm did kill him. And, you know, greed, man, greed, and it's really unfortunate. But oh god, this rocket jump better work out. Oh, he doesn't pursue, just ignites, shoots. Wow, I would have thought I definitely would have came in there for one more shot. That would have ended it. I mean, that was over. But all right, just in the end, it actually ends up being a pretty even trade. I thought Amazon executed that very, very well, but they didn't pick. You know, Patton D just got a little bit greedy trying to clear some creeps, which, I mean, never do. Never do. I mean, I've learned that. I mean, it's happened to me a lot where I'm just like, you know what, I got pretty low after this engagement, but I'm just going to go farm wolves on my way out as a jungler, even though I'm pretty low. And sure enough, like, they just like kind of like, they're like, I think this guy's going to get greedy and farm his wolves. And then you show up and you just feel like the biggest moron ever. So, you know, Patton D's obviously wants that one back. But gold, for all intents and purposes, still very, very even. We start to see Tristana come back into her own. They didn't really have an answer for Rumble there, who's been pretty tanky and resolute there. Has his bread and butter, which is the Raileigh Scepter Leandries. So lots of massive slows from him. Plus those slows are going to be backed up by a lot of damage, or percent health damage. That pink ward going to be able to give vision of Ahgl, which will be trouble. Ahgl, the main thing I have to look for Gurg is he almost needs to flank his team He needs to not be, he's kind of lined up with his team right now. Nice rupture, follow that up, and they bait Gurg and ult coming out across him. So he's getting caught up in a lot of collateral damage. Has to get out of this one. Great command shockwave, but just not being followed up properly, being able to get any damage. And Volstagg gets in there to try to do some work, but they have actually split the enemy team, and they just need to run for their lives at this point. And the fact that they only gave up always goofing off is actually pretty impressive to me, because I thought it could have been worse there. But you can see kind of like my concern as I kind of bring it up now is the Gurg, he like goes in, but he's getting caught up in so much of the scrum of that fight where he needs to just kind of be that vulture at the edge of the fight and then come in at the right moment to start cleaning up and getting onto people then, instead of, coming right off the bat, because he's losing about half his health or more coming in up front. And the Gunblade alone is not really doing him any service here. He was able to farm up. He still has a farm lead, but kills and assists, he's basically even with York, and they have a lot of great defensive abilities to counter his assassin between Lulu, between York. That it's not really potent for him to come in at the tip off of the fight. So want to kind of look for him to flank in from somewhere else. If Amazon's going to want to be successful here in winning these team fights. And also Pelennor, he's taking a lot of damage at the same thing too. You need to be mindful of the equalizer, and the equalizer is the main thing that's really helping out Adobe here. And until they're able to get through that, which I would expect that either Leona or Cho'Gath, as it looks like we want to head toward, needs to pick up a runic bulwark, so that their team can start to get acclimated and be able to survive through that magic damage that's coming in. Because, theory-wise, as we move along here, they should be a stronger team potentially. I feel like Orianna kind of falls off as well, but with a Tristana, you should, now level 14, you should be in that stage now where, once he starts to get his next stage of items, he should be really, really effective for his team. And honestly, farm-wise, not the craziest farm in the game. They're kind of hanging with each other, kills and assists-wise, and farm-wise. The ADs are hanging tough. Orianna's been doing a great job farming, and actually has some decent amount of damage, but probably needs a pen coming in here a little bit shortly. And Adobe doing what they do best, just taking turrets, rotating very, very well. We see always goofing off, actually going down to Dragon, and it looks like he's actually going to do Dragon as the equalizer comes in here. They do have vision of this. They're not going to be able to get down there to deal with it, but they're going to take the turret, and we're going to see Adobe keep pressuring this. They did use Equalizer already, and there's actually Command Shockwave. They shouldn't be able to go in off of this, although they do go on to Lulu, and that Leona ult catches it up. Wow, the Gurg's burst damage off that. Didn't quite expect it, but they're going to be able to get Dragon off this as well, so they're basically going to trade Dragon by splitting up, always goofing off down low, versus taking that turret, and that is a slow Dragon. Dragon getting the better of always goofing off here. Not the best. Oh, wow. Pops Smite. Waiting for that V's. Oh, winner's Dragon almost. Okay, so it takes Dragon. They see him the entire time. Now they're actually going to go for Baron, possibly, is what they're thinking about. Leona coming in here. Needs to be careful. Gets caught by a nice cupcake trap. Flashes over, but that's basically a waste because is caught. Now need to beat feet, but they did delay a possible Baron play right there, which I think that they were thinking about mounting up for. As we see Lulu revive as well. So, kind of good trades. Nice little burst damage coming into Cold Puncher to catch him sleeping a little bit there, farming on his mind. But need to wait for those ults to come back, which most of them look like they are going to be back once their team mounts back up. I think they actually have a pretty good team fight, but they're just like, they're kind of slowly just turtling, bleeding this out. They haven't actually lost a major base turret, haven't lost a major fight. We're going to see Adobe get a little bit stronger here as they're going to go back and spend their gold. They've been banking a bit of gold, I believe. Here as we see it start to come in. Static Shiv coming in for Colon Puncher as well, so he's going to have a little bit of extra attack speed. There's that Blade of the Rune King on Tristana. Now Tristana is going to start to get really, really scary, because not only is she going to have that awesome auto attack range that she's been setting up with, now she's going to actually have a little bit extra burst, some heal, have that % damage to tear down either objectives or players. Really expect some good things going to be able to come out of Pelennor now, as long as in the end keep that spacing, keep it good. Should be a good game for him. But we'll see. Right now, Adobe, they've looked like a very, very good team. And exactly what the doctor ordered, Volstagg picking up Oracles. Needs to be protected, though. Doesn't want to get too far out there, but they need to, do some really good hard sweeps of their own jungle, as we're going to see them start to round that court. Oh, doesn't see it. You need to shift right click. So shift right click whenever you are clearing brushes with an oracles on you. That way you'll never miss a ward. Actually, I think his team probably called him out right there. That one's going to dissipate before he's able to get to it. But always shift right click, and then you'll auto attack it when you enter the brush, because you're on attack move versus just walking through. That way you'll never miss them and have that dough moment when you look at the replay back and you're like, how did they still have vision of me? We had oracles, and you're like, oh, we crossed that one ward, and I missed. We all missed seeing it. I missed seeing it. Happens. But now we see the push back from Amazon. They're thinking that they want to finally take their first turret. I don't know if that's going to happen for them. There's a lot more pushing power out of Caitlyn now that she actually does have that static shiv. Also, big waves pushing bottom. Really, again, Adobe, the thing I have to hand to them. And one of the problems for Amazon in general, as I've watched casted a lot of their team, is they have a hard time having their lanes be getting pushed for them and being able to get into a situation where they're able to put some pressure on and when you get later in this game. So I think what we're going to see is the typical thing that we've been seeing is Patton's going to go fishing with that ball, and if they can get a good enough catch, then we could see Amazon just collapse on there and make a play. Rupture into their pink ward going down as well. Command protect to the Cho'Gath. Rumble just trying. So here's the thing: is the reason they're setting up there, or you see them flanking off with that Rumble, and always giving up, just really trying to wait in there for his team, set something up. And I have to hand it to Adobe. They're doing a good job of getting Amazon running around, playing to their tune. But you see how them flank down bottom? The reason that they did that is, one, not just for the surprise. It's like, oh, they're trying to catch them off guard. If they committed while Rumble is in mid, and they commit into that corridor, Equalizer basically lands and hits everybody on Amazon. So if they pull them into the jungle, Amazon is basically they're on the low ground and Adobe's on the high ground in that situation, and Adobe all has the advantage. There's another zone out ult, but with that Equalizer, and now we might see the counter engage, which I think they might come in for. They have been pretty locked in here. There's going to be the Zenith Blade. Ghost already onto Caitlyn. Ult's going down. Caitlyn's still in the backlines. Pellinor trying to deal damage, actually dealing to Yorick, and now that front line is working really, really well for Cole Puncher, keeping him safe. We see the Gurk finally going in there, able to pick up a kill. Will he be able to exit, though? That is the key, and we see Pellinor trying to get in some damage there, but just getting pushed off. A lot of the carries very, very low here for Amazon, and just... Again, I think Adobe's just executing really, really well, throwing down that Equalizer just to zone out, get the turret, and then the counter initiate. We saw Leona go very, very deep on the Colon Puncher, but the rest of the team sucked back properly, kept them up. Pellinor was stuck just attacking Yorick, who is tanky and doesn't really care about getting picked on. And in the end, they gave up Yorick for two characters, and they were able to still take a turret. As we see here, Adobe just keeps getting a little bit ahead. And now we're starting to get to the part where, it was all fun and games. It was okay for Amazon until now, because now is the stage where the next turret they lose is going to be a base turret, and if they lose a base turret, they can't afford it, because then they're going to lose inhibitors. Their base is basically exposed, and for what Adobe's been able to show this game, definitely just a better team when it comes to the turret situation. As we see, still no turrets down. Like it's always a really painful thing. I think Amazon going back, I think those early turrets that as I was talking about in the game one before we had the restart, Amazon wanted to extend out the laning phase. They were way better in the laning phase. It was working out for them. That was their advantage. They picked up 2 kills right off the bat this time, but due to the early kill up top and some other factors and the pressure down bottom, they lost that. And now they might finally take their first turn of the game. They're charging out here pretty fast. Rumble looks like he's heading in here. Should be able to help defend it, but I think they should be able to take this if they do commit to it. And it looks like Equalizer burned yet again. Oh man, just burn it whenever. It doesn't matter. And he clears the wave, and they're going to save the turret again. They're trying to pitch a shutout here, and I don't blame them. It's worth it to try to throw it out. But now if I'm Amazon, I'm like, they burned Equalizer. We have about I'd say 40 seconds or so to try to go around here and just pick a fight. And if they can pick a fight, it'll be great for them. If they can't, which it looks like they're not really set up to do, then they're just going to have to deal with another Equalizer in their face. And now it looks like Adobe's actually going to get their first dragon. They're creep even farther ahead. Just really as we get farther along in the game, I feel that Amazon just needs to... They need to get... If I was telling them, giving them some advice or something they can do to just kind of get better, I would say that they need to. The Kirk disconnects. That's unfortunate. Should be back though. But I was giving advice as as a team, just kind of stuff to work on. They need to work on just their late game, their mid to late game, their turret control, and part of it's Adobe. Adobe's been doing a great job, but it's a consistent problem. Amazon without a big lane lead, without the early lead coming out of there, without taking some turrets or something like that, they kind of stall out like this, and you can see they don't quite have the pushing power to go in there and counter push and take a turret. They're not really counter pushing lanes and being able to take a turret, and they've basically been whittled down now to the point where they have a 6 turret deficit, and the Dragons have been keeping them. The Dragons were keeping them even, and props to them for going in there boldly, taking those Dragons. But the Dragons are the only thing that kept them afloat this game so far. And even though they had that early lead, they've been farming great. I mean, if you look at their farm comparative to the enemy team, great farm. But as far as the objectives go, the objectives are keeping Adobe ahead, and that's something that I think Amazon just needs to get a little bit better at as a team. And it's it's not a huge knock. I mean, a lot of teams suck. They don't. Sorry, I didn't mean to end on a lot of teams suck, but a lot of teams are just not very good at objectives. I mean, in general, it's what makes League of Legends fun. It's a team game, it's a team strategy, and objectives are the main team coordination. I mean, for lane you can learn that slowly. You can go play solo queue. You can get good at lane mechanics, but as a team, taking objectives usually is a team thing. I mean, sometimes you can just win your lane and take a turret, but for the most part, taking dragons, taking buffs, taking Baron, taking base turrets, anything past the first outer turrets usually are typically a team thing. It's a team coordination thing. Even as a solo laner, when you're taking that second turret, you probably have your team pushing somewhere else to keep pressure off of them just collapsing on you in top turret. You don't want everybody going to base while you're solo pushing top, and the enemy team being like, all right, let's go get this jerk. We don't have to defend anything else. I mean, it's part of the fun of League of Legends. So I mean, not a huge knock on them. I mean, I've seen them play it very, very well and play games, but it seems to be a thorn in their side, at least as we move along in these games, and it's kind of what's happening here, at least in this case. And again, a lot of it again is Adobe. They've been executing these turrets, these turret kills very, very well, and it's something that you can tell that they've worked on and they're good at. I would say that the Lux ban that they used to probably prevent the same similar thing of a Lux push and her using lasers to push them off of turrets, which is probably how Adobe plays. I imagine where that ban came from. Probably needs to focus on that ban and follow that up and really focus on probably banning out Rumble or first picking him. I don't think first picking a Rumble would have been a bad decision. If you look back, they first picked Cho'Gath, which, to be honest, unless someone's... I like Cho'Gath. I think he's a big, huge factor for teams. I think he's better mid or top because he ramps up faster into that mid game. Where in jungle, he's still effective, has a lot of great things for your team, but overall is just not like... I mean, he's not the same. He's a little bit farther behind. He's Cho'Gath light, if you will, out of the jungle. So we'll see how we go along here. But we still have the Gurgle away for a minute, so I'm gonna check back in on chat, see what's going on here. Yeah, so it looks like he is going to try to reconnect. So we have a long game ahead of us. We'll see when it finally breaks, but these turret fights, as we see them reconnect, there we go. These turret fights are going to start to get a lot more, again, like I talked about, the turret fight now is going to become a bigger deal as we, start to get into these base turrets, because Amazon can't afford to give up another base turret, because then that exposes their inhibitor, and right now the way Adobe's been pushing around with all this map control they have, which is really the advantage of having all these outer turrets up. Like, if you think about it logically, it's like it's not even too that I was harping on Amazon a little bit that they're not really good at pushing their lanes, but if you can't take these outer turrets, then the outer turrets actually auto push your lanes for you, which then means that the lanes are always going to be pushing against you naturally. So Adobe almost doesn't even have to do anything. The turrets, as long as those turrets stay up, they're not going the waves are pushing for them. They can just kind of push around as they have been. And now at this stage of the game, it takes so much effort to get out and push and take a tower for Amazon that we'll have to see what they actually go with. 2 bottom, rushing to Baron. Don't know if this is the right move, but we see them popping out here, and they're going to start it off the pat, just poke in there a little bit, and we see them racing over here. Not necessarily the best move. I wouldn't have them go do Baron at this stage, but nice little poke in, keeping the enemy team honest and running around. I think now where I'm looking at Pellinar's status as a carry, he's starting to get to the point where he can kind of carry this one out, and their turtle to get him to this point, which I feel is their trump card, has been pretty good. But now again, backs against the wall. This is the time where they're gonna have to defend, and they're gonna have to make sure a fight may happen around Baron, but I don't think that's the biggest advantage for Adobe. I think their advantage right now is the fact that they're just better at pushing turrets and using their ult to zone out. So I would just have them keep doing that. Where Amazon's gonna have to make a play here. They're gonna have to eat it. They're gonna have to equalizer either way. If I was drawing the equalizer, I'd make sure it's more perpendicular than straight. Previously, we've seen that they've kind of been straight and angled. What you want to do with one in this case where your siege got base is you actually want to not have them cross up towards you. You want to protect Column Puncher. So you're going to want to use it. Oh, wow. That's actually a really nice shockwave catching multiple members. And we're going to see a great equalizer following this one up. And we're going to see a J4 in the background taking down Orianna in that front line, doing work, being able to protect Column Puncher. And J4 flashing out of this one. Get out of here. Ace of the Hole going to be blocked, and they need to keep Pellinar up, but it's not going to be enough. Ghost of Rumble going to finally go down, so 2 for 3. Going to need to get those home guards up if they don't already have them, which Tristana can't actually get, but Leona does have. But I would have definitely said they should have got home guards at this point since they were on their back foot. I don't think we should have seen the tier 3 boots out of Tristana, but they should be able to defend this inhibitor, so that's a good news. That's the good news. But they're going to lose at least another turret here, I believe, off of this push potentially, based on those death timers. Still have 20 seconds. We'll see how well they can clear it. Explosive shot should be able to do some work. And nice stuns on there and followed up with some decent damage. But I have to say the MVP of that last team fight was, the shockwave was money. And we see the trains going down now, but Pellinar sticking there just a little bit too long, and didn't use the Blade of the Rune King. And there's the dash after, followed up, and Gerg wants some more. Gets the dissonance as well. Should be able to pick up at least 1 kill if he can get another mark. But Column Puncher, look at him just tear him apart. But there's the kill finally coming in. Leona ult coming in as well, able to pick up those kills. That's going to prevent a potential Baron right off the bat. So good response there. There's those home guard boots like I was talking about. Need to see those from everybody. But Blade of the Rune King, it has an active. Use it. It would be huge right there because it would have given him a heal as well as dealing a damage buff. Used it right off the bat. Might have been able to trade with Caitlyn there. Would have been close though, honestly. But again, I forget to use activated abilities all the time, so I'm pointing it out as a commentator, and it's not a mean thing. If anything, like honestly, as a commentator, when I watch these teams, like I don't expect these guys to be pro players, and if you hear me sighing, it's mainly because I'm actually a fan of the Amazon team. I mean, obviously, that's my home team, if you will. So when I see something not go right for them, it hurts me just a little bit more. It's not necessarily a bad thing. I'm trying to gripe on them. And I know these players, they're B leaguers. These aren't the guys. These guys don't go home and play 20 games a night or 16 games a day or something like that. They don't play from work. I don't think so. But for the most part, these guys just play when they can. And they've come a long way. They've done a good job, and sometimes mechanically make mistakes. I make the same mistakes they're making too. So I'm just pointing out as a commentator. And really, if anything, when I point it out and I'm making these comments, I want these players to get better. I know a lot of them come back, they watch my commentary, and they learn some things from what's going on. They enjoy the play-by-play, and that stuff is fun too. But for the most part, I just hope that when they watch back through it, some of these things I point out, they can be like, okay, I need to make sure that I do this and I do this and I do this. And it's like the next week I play Tristana. When I buy Blade of the Rune King, I'm gonna always use the. I gotta make sure I use it active in every team fight, and I'm really gonna focus on it. And that's what you kind of need to do to make sure you keep using items. And you have to, until you buy an item and you use it a lot, you kind of forget about it as another tool in your arsenal. and it's it's pretty common. But that's my hope. My hope is when I cast this, it's not I'm not trying to cast the pros of the pros, because I know this is not that's not the audience, that's not the teams that we have here. It's 3 oracles. The Raven, they got the glow sticks out for Adobe. But I mean, really, what I'm hoping is these teams maybe learn some stuff from the cast, as well as enjoy themselves doing some work. And we see Adobe coming in here onto Gurg, who Gurg needs to needs to get out of dodge. And oh my gosh, that is a huge pickoff. Yeah, that was, although the wild growth. And the one pickoff on, oh wow, that is actually clutch. They can win this. They can win this with Pellinor up and Colon Puncher down. They need to re-engage if Pellinor still has health. He's half health. If he uses Blade of the Rune King this time, they can win that fight. That's the thing, is like, if you think about it, Pellinor up with that range, as long as this front line keeps them safe, they're golden. I mean, there's nothing that this Rumble and crew is going to be able to do to that. And that Zenith Blade just barely misses. That was a dead Rumble if that caught. But, as soon as they got that pick was huge. Props to Pat and D's and crew for getting that pick off, because that just snuffed out any momentum they had there. And now we're going to see a really go in here. And they're actually trying to do Baron. So are we going to cue Benny Hill music? Is this really happening? Is this real life? They need to go on to this. Oh no, they need some sort of stuff. They need to fight this. They need to fight this. Oh, Amazon. Crushing my heart. Interesting, bold move, but honestly, okay, so here's the deal. You see 3 people flanked down bottom, and it's just a communication team coordination thing, but you see 3 people flanked down bottom. One of them chases your Leona up. You're like, okay, so who do they have? They have J4, who he's always tanky bruiser. They have Rubble, and they have York. All 3 of these guys are melee, and you have 2 awesome front lines in Cho'Gath and Leona, plus you have an Orianna in tow, and then you have a long-range AD carry that can melt all of them. You fight that. You always fight that in that situation, and who cares about Baron? You fight that. But in this case, it didn't work out, and we're just going to keep moving along here. Trucking it. And... And really, Adobe just, I mean, their pressure has been great all game. And now it looks like they're setting up for a Baron, and they're gonna do it. They have Gurg down bottom. They know this is up. Rupture having to be used to check right there. Now they're backing off, so I don't think they can't finish Baron. And York's taking a lot of damage. If they get that catch, oh wow, that Leona misses. There's the damage hit. Oh wow, but the Zenith Blade lands, but they're not able to quite follow it up here. But able to see Leona a little bit tankier now, surviving a little bit as she gets in there. Pellinor just needs to be careful of taking that collateral damage that gets through there. They need to let Pellinor actually auto-attack all those creeps. And that's just a thing, just in general, it's like, okay, team situation, our AD carry is going to be our flagship here. Need to make sure that he gets, oh, there's a shockwave into Leona, catches multiple members, gets them pretty low. They don't have Leona able to follow this up. Gurg finally taking his time working up here, and now he's going to actually come inside. So this is the Gurg I've been waiting for, coming in from the side after the fact, going to be able to possibly deal out some damage. Able to pick up one, but still up live. Now trying to dash right there. Needs to be able to get back to Colon Puncher, but hasn't really been able to do it. Now we see the resets from Pellinor, put in some damage, used his ult to get out, but now going to have to use his Buster Shot, and that's just targeting. I think just focus fire. It was a lot better for Adobe there, just because we saw the Amazon sitting on the floor candy. they're sitting on the floor candy way too long. It wasn't good for them, and they need to get back to Colon Puncher, who, if you look at his item build, he's pretty stacked up and in line with Pellinor, and they're going to be able to at least get this inhibitor. They have multiple members down for 30 seconds still. They can keep pushing this if they really want to put the dagger in. Looks like they might just switch over to working onto this turret, which they should be able to take down. So they're at least going to get a couple inhibitors here. Amazon's going to be put on the back foot and might be able to close this first game out. Again, this is a best of 3. So these teams do have some time to come back into this one. They do have a way to get back into it. Polymorph going down, nicely done. Going to be able to get a good punish off, and they should be able to get a Baron off of this, because they're going to have 2 big, huge lanes pushing. And, the good news is that Amazon, finally, their creeps worked out for them. They were able to take that top turret at some point. So, yay. But yeah, I mean, I think that a lot of that fight too is just down to the Gurg when he came in. I was excited for him to come in from the side, but he dove straight into the middle of it, tried to focus down someone. They have a lot of ults to protect one person, and if they're using them not onto Colon Puncher, then you need to go to Colon Puncher. Colon Puncher from the back lines. Ahgl should be able to should be able to go at Colon Puncher, burn Colon Puncher down, but unfortunately this just hasn't been the case in the team fights, and something they definitely need to look for when they work in their team comps. As I look at this team comp, they have that hyper carry Tristana, which I really do like, but it's it just hasn't really been working out for them in team fights. Colon Puncher's just been in the right position. The front line, soaked up so much attention from Amazon in a lot of these team fights that he's perfectly fine. He sits back there. He's doing just as good as Tristana, who's taking damage getting in due to Equalizer and a bunch of other collateral stuff. And when the dust settles, Pelinor's kind of hung out to dry there, used his rocket jump after the one kill to reset and get out. But Amazon, Adobe's Protect has just been too good in team fights, and the focus has definitely been in their advantage. We see the Oracle's coming in now as well, so the glow sticks helping them clear out some wards with some advantage. We see Amazon out here, but really, pushing out this middle wave is good for it. But eventually, they're gonna have to go back. They're gonna have to go down to the spot lane. They're gonna have to start clearing out stuff and protecting themselves. And here's an attempt to pick up Volgus. Should be able to do it. A lot of resources spent on picking up the support, but they are going to be able to remove. And oh man, they should have came in on that. The problem is the corridor, which is where the Equalizer will hurt. But they definitely could have put a lot of harass on there and kept them off. I think they can do Baron now. They're clearing out Vision. They should be able to do Baron. You see the Supermans in the base. They've drawn them down there. Yeah, I mean, they're going to be able to get Baron. And then off of this, I expect they will be able to push and probably win the game. And again, the keys to this game really were great early start by Amazon off of the reset, but the lanes got broken down early, which is something Adobe needed to do based off of the, even looking at the first game. They played that very, very well, and they carried out really great in taking down turret objectives. And until their own creeps were able to help them kill top turret, we didn't see Amazon actually pick up a turret pretty much this entire game. And even though they were able to pick up dragons, that was the only thing that actually kept them in this game. And now, even though the gold deficit's not that far away, Tristana could, if she really, if they're able to somehow stall this out even more, could still carry their team. I don't really see it with the Baron buff and just the way they've been executing. My money's just not on Amazon at this point, but we'll see how it gets executed. Looks like they're holding off this push pretty good, but eventually someone's gonna have to go back there, fight off these super minions, and I don't think they're gonna be able to defend this push. Lulu finally coming back to lane. You can see how big those death timers are at this point. Pretty huge. The fact that she's been dead for quite a while. Now finally coming back. Orion actually doing a good job clearing, so we'll see how this goes. They really kind of just need to go all in on Pellinor if they want to take this turret. While Colon Puncher's taking a lot of damage getting in there. Now Ghost already popped onto Aurelie, actually. And there we go. That Equalizer is money. And now they're coming in here, starting to clear out people. And we see Pellinor trying to get back off there, but really should have went all in. They went all in. Shockwave coming in, going to be able to pick up a kill, but really not going to be able to save them. That should be the game. So first game going to be able to go down to Adobe. It was trying to make a last-ditch effort, get a little bit impatient there, and trying to play the long game, and they almost got to it. I mean, they're 52 minutes in. Tristana has 345 CS. She's almost a full item build. Should be really effective, but just the rest of the team just not quite backing it up. The rest of the damage of that front line just so well dealing with the focus fire. And congratulations to Adobe taking game one. We will be moving on to game two, and best of luck to both teams. They both showed that either team probably could have taken that game, but Adobe's ability to take all those turrets with no response from Amazon really just won them.